Billy, thanks for having us here today. It's always nice to come and see your collection, which is ever expanding. Talk to us first and foremost about how this sort of passion for shirts and for Norwich City shirts started.
So, as any fan, you normally get like the replica shirts each season, and as the years went on, I had a bit of a wardrobe full of replicas. Just casually looking on eBay, and I saw a Yusuf Safri poppy shirt, which is obviously covered in mud. So I bought that, and then it kind of snowballed from there, and now we have what we have. So yeah, it's coming up for 10 years of collecting now, so it's getting quite good.
And in terms of, because and you were saying earlier, it's almost become like a not a museum, but almost like a walk through history, hasn't it? From what is it, 30 years worth of shirts now? I think you said over 600. I mean, that's a mega collection.
Yeah, so how I've set it up now, I've got 30 years worth of shirts, just because it's easier to display, and when people come around, 30 years is a good amount to look back on, and we've had a lot of ups and downs in them 30 years, so it works quite well.
And sort of talk to us a little bit about how it works, because as people may be able to see sort of here, whatnot, you've got maybe the same version of shirts, but they're all slightly different, aren't they? So for each shirt that comes out, you sort of have different rules to apply to get all of the ones that come out in a season.
Yeah, so as a collector, I like to have all the different variants. So the short sleeve, long sleeve, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Rainbow, the Poppy, the charity sponsor, and obviously when you add all them together, you get quite a few. So like last season, I think there was 19 different variants.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which probably lends me to ask. I mean, in terms of like family and whatnot, what do they think? Do they love it? Is it like, because I know you don't live here by yourself, so it must be something that you've had to negotiate to get sort of, what is this, sort of a room and 2 rooms basically worth of Norwich City shirts.
Yeah, they like it. It's always a talking point in the family and with friends, but it's a passion and a hobby, and it keeps me happy, and everyone else seems to like it, so we'll keep going.
Talk to me a bit about this book that you've been involved in, which I think we'll have a look at in a moment when you show us some of your favourite shirts. But just talk to us a little bit about that process and your involvement in it.
Yeah, so over the summer, a fellow collector called Kevin Goodins approached me and said that would I be interested in doing a collaboration with some of my shirts and some of his into making a Norwich City book. So I said, yeah, I'm well up for that, which we did, and that's now out and available on www.canarythreads.com, available in the forum on the Store City or on eBay. If you search it up, it's available on there as well.
And in turn, say you're going to show us some of your favourites, but if you had to pick one as we stand here today, is there one that really stands out to you as being your favourite? Is it that Yusuf Safri one that you say that kicked it all off for you?
It'll always be the Yusuf Safri pop, and also that shirt is the only time we've had an embroidered poppy, where all the other times it's been like a press-on type.
Which is really interesting, isn't it? And it's those minute details that probably maybe fans wouldn't notice unless you sort of had a collection like this.
Yeah, and then you go back and you show, and then people go, "Oh yeah, I remember that," or they don't, and then you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting." A bit like the Ribeiro and Mitre, when Ribeiro went bust and Mitre took over. Still to this day, some fans didn't take any notice of it, and when you show them, they're like, "Oh my god, that's a really interesting point."
And in terms of like players and stuff, have you had interest from them in terms of either donating or just general interest in your collection?
The players, I haven't had any players donate other than just the one from Tim Krul. But I try and tag the players in it on social media, and they seem to like. It's more the older players seem to enjoy it more than the newer ones.
And in terms of all the shirts that you do have, and like you say, it continues. I mean, as I look here now, you've had to put an extra rail in. Have you got space for many more as we stand here today?
Well, that's the thing, because there seems to have more and more different variants. I do seem to run out of space, but I always make way. Like I did, when you come last time, I didn't have this rail here, and now obviously I've got it to cater for this season and next season. So we're all right for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, and with third shirts and goalkeeper shirts and alternative goalkeeper shirts, I mean, it must make it pretty challenging at points as well to collect all of those when there is, as we know, particularly in this market, so much competition.
There's a lot of competition, not just from Norwich fans. There's fans who like certain players, or they just like, because they're international stars now, they like them players from their country.
Does it add a pressure when you've got all of them to then make sure that you have as you said, every single variant of a shirt? I can imagine it becomes quite stressful at points.
Yeah, you could say it's a bit obsessive, but once you started it and you keep it going, it does seem to just click together on its own accord, if that makes sense.
And you must be really proud of it, because I'm sure there are loads of Norwich City fans who'll be watching this, who are out there, who would have absolutely dreamt to have had a collection like this, or maybe even have a slightly mini one, like you say, of all the replica shirts. So you must be really proud that you've been able to not just collect all of them, but sustain that collection. You say 30 years from 94 to 2004.
Yeah, I'm super proud, and everyone who comes to look is always really impressed with it, and everyone congratulates me, even other collectors, because it's not an easy task, and to keep it going and to have them on display, not just put away in a box, is hard work, but it's all worth it. It's just a smile pleaser.
Okay then, Billy, so if we've spoken about your collection, it's time to maybe have a look at some of the highlights. We could look at them all, but I think we'd be here for it. We'd have to do like a 2-hour podcast for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to pick 6 is what we've got, including one from this season. So let's start with the first one that you want to show us in terms of your shirt, and then just tell us a little bit about maybe the story as to how you acquired it, but equally maybe its historical meaning as well.
Okay, yeah. So my first one is obviously the first one that started my collection journey, is the embroidered Poppy shirt versus West Brom. And obviously it's used as Safri's match-worn shirt, as you can see. Still got the mud on it from that Cow Road game. And that's the first and only time so far that we've had an embroidered Poppy on the shirt.
Do you like that more when they're embroidered?
Yeah, it's a lot more of a nicer touch. And I think it looks amazing as well.
Signed as well, so it's worth saying, I guess, probably with the bulk of this collection, do you get the majority of them signed by players? Do they come signed? How does that sort of work?
Depends on where I get them from, because obviously some of them come from all over the world. If like a player swaps and then he moves to another country, they're sometimes not signed. But it doesn't matter if they're signed or not. But I like it just a one signature as opposed to full autograph, like full team squad. But you can't pick and choose sometimes, so you have to just whatever is available you have to buy.
He was some player, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. And obviously everyone, probably his most significant goal was probably the Newcastle one in the Premier League, near the halfway line.
Okay then, shirt number 2. Talk us through this one that you have in your hand.
So this is the Premier League shirt versus Manchester United at home, where we changed the sponsorship for the Build the Nest for the one game, but as you can see the D is upside down, which got accidentally done, but to me, because it was match worn and worn in that game with the upside down D, it's quite a special shirt. Because as a collector, you like oddball, different, unique shirts. So obviously this one stands out compared to all the others, as there is no other one with an upside down D.
And I tell you what I like about the shirts as well, which is when you get a match worn one, and I can see just above the H there, a little bit of mud on it. That always makes it just feel a little bit more special, doesn't it? And probably add to that feeling of it being match worn. Yeah,
I do like them when they're really muddy. But obviously you can't sometimes, if they don't fall over very much, then they don't get very muddy. But that's just the luck of the draw.
And this was worn by Mo Leitner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That game, I'm trying to remember it from my sort of memory of Norwich, but that was the one Onel Hernandez scored in, right?
Yeah.
Was it? So that was
he was the first Cuban scored in the Premier League.
That's it. So that was a defeat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 2-0 loss.
Yeah,
from memory.
Yeah, 2-1 because Hernandez scored, didn't he?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, 2-1, yeah.
But in terms of maybe shirt collection more generally, is it more difficult when they're in the Premier League because that feels probably like a bigger market, or is it easier because Norwich are a smaller fish in that bigger market?
It just depends. It literally depends who you're playing. But obviously we rely on, when the club had their own auction site, that was really good because after the game they'd go up for auction, you could bid them. Obviously now we have to do it through the third party. So
Premier League badge as well, which is always nice. Hopefully we'll see some of them on the kits
again. See that again, yeah. But obviously that's changed again.
Okay, shirt number 3. Now this is going to be one that is memorable to Norwich City fans. Talk us through this very special shirt in the club's history.
So this is Chris Sutton's match-worn long-sleeve shirt, and he wore it quite a bit, and obviously it's even had a repair because back then they didn't have change a shirt every 45 minutes like they do now. So it doesn't have the mud on it, but it's well worn and used.
Yeah, I was going to say you can see almost on the number how sort of it's been worn, but how difficult is it when you get a shirt like that to sort of keep it in the condition that you do? I guess in this sort of environment, it probably helps it, right?
Yeah, these are harder to find and to keep in a nice condition, especially with the sponsor. So
tell us the story behind this one then. Where did you find this one? Because as you said, now it's all done online and it's websites and whatnot. So talk to me about the story as to how you found Chris Sutton's shirt.
So this one, someone contacted me on Instagram and said that they were given it by Chris Sutton at the end, towards the end of the season, and they now want us to part ways with it. So I greatly bought it off them, and obviously this version being the one where Mitre took over from Ribeiro. So obviously it's got the Ribeiro patches underneath the Mitre where they cleverly stitched over.
Very subtly.
Very subtly, yeah.
So this was, and this people will look at that and they'll think the Europe season, but this was what a year
No,
on?
that was that season. Yeah.
So
but this wasn't the
this
Europe.
isn't the one that he.
No, this isn't. No, this is just.
I think
Premier
he's
League.
got that one from memory.
Yeah, this is just the Premier League.
And you can see the old badges there. But again, and this is what we talk about the collection more generally, capturing a moment in history. It does it so well because that is a shirt in particular that provokes a lot of feelings about a certain time in Norwich City history. So,
indeed.
Can you remember a lot about that season?
Well, I was only 3.
So
no. No, but obviously watching back videos and photos.
It's interesting because I wasn't born when that era, but you almost feel like you were there, and I guess items like this probably help with that. Don't they?
Yeah. It's just, well, and also this shirt is so iconic around the world. Where you show it, everyone's like Norwich City, Premier League.
Yeah, that's a really special shirt. So that's number 3.
Number 3,
and,
yeah.
Let's move on to number 4. Right, number 4. This is a very, very special Norwich City shirt throughout history. Talk us through this one. I'm sure people can probably read the embroidered writing there, but this is a significant shirt in the club's history.
Yeah, so this is the FA Cup semi-final shirt versus Sunderland, which belonged to John Polston. He recently auctioned it off on the club's website, which I was lucky enough to have the winning bid to add it into the collection because it was one that I was missing. And it's obviously, unfortunately for us, as far as we've ever got in the FA Cup. So it's still, and this shirt design is a very top on fan favourites. So it's like a double barrel winner.
It's interesting. That's a very different shade of yellow and almost compare it to some of those you've got behind you. It's almost like a sort of faded yellow almost, isn't it? It's the best way to describe it. Yeah, it's a very different sort of shade of Norwich City yellow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's when people come in and they say, "Oh, the different shades, how it changes throughout the years." It's quite funny that you can have that many different shades of yellow.
It is, and like you say, such a memorable look. And not that I can see any real sort of mud patches on that, but it's such great condition, isn't it, for what you've picked out? And I guess those little bits like the embroidered writing, FA Cup semi-final 1991-92, just adds to it, doesn't it? Adds to the specialness of it.
Yeah, it's because it was only worn in that one game, so. Yeah, that's a very nice one to have.
And like you say, that's. I think now the club sort of remake shirts and you see them sort of go back to vintage eras. That's one that's not been done yet, and I think a lot of fans would like to see it.
Yeah, I'd love them to do it again, definitely. I think a lot of fans would as well.
That's a really special shirt. Okay, shirt number 5, and this is another really, really special one. Talk us through this very special shirt.
So this is Grant Holt's last ever Premier League worn shirt, because this is versus Manchester City, where we won 3-2.
So he never actually wore this shirt in a regular season. I mean, but that for that special game they wore.
They wore the next season's shirt in the last home game of the previous season, and obviously he was then sold over the summer, so he never wore this shirt the following season. So this is the only time that he was seen in this shirt, which is quite a nice, unique shirt to have.
And that's what you look for, isn't it? That uniqueness, that different variant as to what you've got. And as you say, on a really special day as well. Probably not one that ultimately he was remembered for, because it was the Johnny Howson day that we think of. But a really special and significant Norwich City shirt, because that is, as you say, an absolute legend. That's the last shirt that he wore for Norwich City.
It was, yeah.
Which is remarkable. The signature's fading a little bit now, but
and there's bits of mud and whatever on it, but it was actually given to the referee on after the game.
Was it?
Yeah, and then the referee decided to part ways with it, and I managed to buy it.
Oh, brilliant! So this is one again that you've maybe not sourced through like the official channels, but you've had to dig a little bit deeper for. Which I guess, from your perspective, how do you when there's a shirt like that, how do you check the sort of whether or not it's genuine? I guess.
Certain shirts have different variants to the replica, like the sleeve patch size, or you have to photo match the mud, or it comes with a certificate, or you just trust the person that you're buying it from.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just more sort of due diligence, and other times it's trust. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes there's clear, obvious like differences, so you don't even need to. The certificate doesn't matter because you know that it's 100% a match-worn shirt.
Yeah, that's a special shirt. Right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, then final shirt, and our trip down Norwich City memory lane takes us to somewhere that was not too long ago, actually, from when we were recording this. This, I think, is going to become a really iconic shirt for your collection. I think. Talk us through this shirt and when it was worn, and I think we can see who it was worn by, but tell us the game and the situation.
So this was worn by Josh Sargent in the away win at Derby, where Sargent's assist to Borgia, it did go over the line. So this is the shirt that created the assist and the goal.
I'm just thinking, actually, some of that mud on the back was probably came from that situation, right?
Potentially, yeah. There's a bit of white paint there as well.
Is there?
Yeah, look.
Brilliant.
So
you can see that. Yeah, I mean that is at long sleeve. Now I know you, Billy. I know you're a big fan of a long sleeve shirt. So this must. I mean, in terms of your sort of recent collection, this must be a real favourite for you.
Yeah, this is a definite top favourite, and obviously because of the situation, if the end of the season we go up by 3 points, you look back at these sort of games and you think, I got that shirt.
And it's as you say, it's really special, isn't it, for your collection to. I think we've sort of the way we've gone through this is almost like marking moments in history, and like you say, that feels like it might be, hopefully, a really significant day in Norwich City's recent history.
Yeah, and turning point hopefully as well.
So have you, in terms of Sargent, is this your first Sargent shirt? Have you got other Sargent shirts?
I've got a couple of other Sargent shirts from last season.
And is he always long sleeve? Because that seems to be a preference watching him.
He has started to wear long sleeves. He does wear short, but as of last season, was the first time he wore long sleeves, which was a big tick in my book. Because obviously I watch them all. When they get long sleeves on, I'm like, I need it.
And in terms of, it'd be remiss for us not to talk about the home shirt a little bit. I mean, where does that rank for you as a Norwich City shirt in terms of pure design and whatnot? It's sort of a bit of a sort of checkered flag style to it, isn't it, in terms of its design?
Yeah, it's not one of my favourite designs. I'd much if and when he wears the long sleeve away in third, they'd be up there with design looks. But obviously for game and the moment, this has a special part of the collection.
And I mean, we were talking a bit off camera, but the club against Hull, I remember that game, it wasn't too long ago. They had the Samaritans on the front, so that's going to be your next target, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the next one on the list to hunt down and add to the collection.
Well, Billy, thank you very much for sort of walking us through not just your collection, but some of your favourite shirts. And I think that some Norwich fans are going to absolutely love those moments in history that you've been able to capture. And hopefully it's a collection that keeps growing, and we'll have to come and visit you again in a couple of years and update this video, I think.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.